Welcome to hell. There is no escape. There is no escape. You are in my control now. Welcome to hell.
Welcome to Hell, Team Doom. Happy New Year, Team Doom. Let's do this. Let's do this. Your boy is back. It's your boy Walter Doom back for another episode of Let's Talk About Horror. The first episode of the new year. The podcast where your nightmares and reality meet, and I just get straight ratchet on this shit. So yeah, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? Come with them with a lot of energy, you see. New year, new me. Oh, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, if you guys fuck with your boy, you know, those social medias are Walter Doom on Instagram, Walter Doom 1 on Twitter, The Walter Doom on TikTok, and Walter Doom anywhere else that's involving streaming. And also, Team Doom, you, the audience, Team Doom, you guys are the real MVPs out there. Y'all still sticking with me. For those that are listening to me, you know, share my shit, you know, come on, let's get this nation rolling, you know. Shout outs to my boys Algorithm C, shout outs to Callie the Wolf. You guys provide a beast to the show. You guys are the real MVPs every time y'all come on here and your music is playing on here. You guys are the real MVPs of this shit, you know. And so are you, Team Doom. But yeah, your boy is back. I've been gone for a minute. I'm pretty sure some of y'all are wondering, Doom, where have you been? So let's take a moment and just like dim the lights. Let's have a moment right now. No music. I mean, music should be off anyway, but no music. Your boy went and got a second job. I know. But not only that, I didn't get just a second job. I got like a third job in a way. So I was working like 3 jobs, and you know, nigga gotta pay his bills. I'm just saying, a nigga gotta pay his bills. You know, this podcast shit don't pay my bills. You know, I'm just here for the fuck of it. I'm here for the fuckeries and the popcorn and shit, you know? But yeah, your boy hasn't been on here for a minute because he had to get a third job. Which is so crazy to say, but yeah, I mean, the second job, I gotta say, was like, it was just like some workshop type shit. That's all it really was, you know, easy money right there. But for the third job, the third job was actually like some real work. So it was literally like some retail work. I'm not gonna say where it was, but I had to do some retail work, and I had to do it like fuck it in the morning and all that. So your boy had to like put in some work just so he could get like his bills paid off and give like people that are very important in his life some Christmas presents, if you can really say that. I mean, I'm not much of a Christmas person. Let's start off right there. I'm not much of a Christmas person, Team Doom. And honestly, it's because I feel like when Christmas comes around, it's not a holiday that is for adults, really. It's for the kids. So I feel like for me, a lot of times, it's like, I don't want to be given that pressure of having to buy people gifts. I hate that kind of pressure. It's especially when you get like some people that are sometimes ungrateful for the gift that they get. They just sit there and be like, this is what you got me type shit. And, you know, I hate that because it's like, yo, like, we're not balling out here in these streets. Like, I don't got Diddy money. Like, bro, I'm so broke. I don't even got, like, the stand-in background money, you know? Like, a dude is broke out here in these streets. So yeah, your boy had to get like a third job just to make sure he keeps the lights on and everything like that. So, but stayed at that job for a little bit. Fucking quit that shit because fuck that place. And the only reason why I say that is because the environment. And I mean, anybody that knows that works retail, they know what it's like to work retail. You know how toxic it could be and everything like that. But yeah, your boy was in there 5 o'clock in the morning. We won't get to what time I woke up in the morning and everything like that. And my day didn't end until like 6 o'clock at night. So yeah, your boy is like dead tired. I was trying to hook up an episode for y'all, but that didn't come into fruition. I mean, we recorded the episode, but your boy didn't have time to edit, and that was tragic. I really wanted to get this episode out because it was dealing with like my best 2021 movies that came out, and I had a top 10. Good thing I did not release that episode because after that episode, in the coming days, it started changing a lot. So yeah, the top 10, you guys could find it on Instagram. It's going to be in my post. I did a story post of it. It was pretty decent. I actually really did like the post in the story. Took some time to kind of come up with it. But Instagram's algorithms is so fucked right now. It's like, yeah, I don't know how many people actually saw my shit. So, and again, in a way. So like I said before, share my shit. Because yeah, Instagram really doesn't like some of the things that I post on there, but we won't get into that. That's another story. But anyway, your boy is no longer working 3 jobs, you know. But I'm still, you know, on my real life shit, trying to like make some things happen, man. You know, it's the continuous grind in this world, and we all go through that shit. For anybody that's like out here listening to me thinking like your boy is balling, no, my nigga, not balling at all. But anyway, what we going to get into today, y'all? That was so corny. Let me try that again. So what we're going to get into today, everybody, we're going to talk about Slumber Party Massacre, the remake, in my little Doom reviews. So there's going to be a bit of changes in the format of the show. I'm trying to make this a little more less strenuous in a way. But yeah, we're going to start off with a review of Slumber Party Massacre. And then after that, then we're going to move on to the 2022 movies that I am excited to see that are coming out this year. I left it to like what used to be like a top 8, and I tried to make a top 10. It's only going to be like 5 movies that I have on there. So yeah, that's what we're going to get into today, you guys. So right now, let's just hit some music from Callie the Wolf to kind of get started with this review segment.
Damien, look at me! I'm over here! Damien, I love you! Look at me, Damien! It's all for you!
So for the first time when I seen Slumber Party Massacre, the 1982 version, I saw it maybe like a couple of years ago. I want to say it was like during the time when I was watching a lot of B horror movies. I was getting drunk, staying up late, watching horror movies, playing video games and everything like that. Slumber Party Massacre was one of those movies that I was just like, hey, I want to watch a slasher movie with lots of tits in it. And sure enough, that movie delivered on that. So the one thing I could say about Slumber Party Massacre, at least the first movie, if you're looking for like an easy watched movie where all you have to do is just see some violence and some tits come out, definitely this is the movie for you. But if you're trying to look for something that's a little bit more deep and maybe like a little more of a story in it, definitely check out the remake, because the remake definitely surpasses a lot of the original and what it has done. When I heard about the remake being made last year, I want to say I was very skeptical about it because I didn't know whether I could trust it or not. Because honestly, we went through Candyman and Candyman was just god awful. Okay, let me not go be that harsh. It wasn't that awful, but it wasn't up to expectation, honestly. But with this movie, Slumber Party Massacre, the remake, I want to say it definitely has surpassed all of my expectations, because I definitely was expecting it to be just another one of those goofy horror movie remakes that don't really pan out real well, and in turn it actually did, and well, on the contrary, it did. Let me talk about why I think this movie did so well. First off, let's talk about the mythos of Russ Thorne. Now, as y'all know, Russ Thorne is the main character, or if you don't know, Russ Thorne is the main character in Slumber Party Massacre. Well, the main villain, I should say. In the original, he was an escape patient or an escape mass murderer. I don't know where he escaped from, whether it was a mental institution or a prison. They just started off with the newspaper. And let me say this. The one thing that I really thought was random was that this guy in the movie was killing all these girls for whatever reason. When I rewatched this film sober, because I have to put that in there, I did not see that they added a newspaper being thrown in there, or them actually just setting up the character. Now, what I do like about in this film, and mind you, there are going to be a lot of spoilers in this review, so yeah, if you don't want any spoilers, yeah, you just got to skip ahead. What I do like about this remake, they do set up more of a reason. They give the killer a reason to murder these females. In the original film, all the murders are taking place at this one girl's house. In the remake, this is taking place in kind of like a cabin in the woods type area, which I like. I think that's a better setup, and it worked better for this movie to have it like a cabin in the woods than like what they had before, which was just a slumber party that just ended up mass murder joint. And there's a lot of things that go wrong, because to me, like, what didn't work for, like, and if you're thinking of it in a logical sense, I wasn't thinking much in a logical sense, but if you think about it in a logical sense, if you guys ever watched Slumber Party Massacre, the first one, things are just too hilarious. It's like, so let me set it up. So in the first film, the slumber party is taking place in this girl's house, Trish, whose parents is basically left town for whatever reason. So they trust their newly 18-year-old daughter to take care of the house safely and have a little slumber party where there's expected to be no craziness going down. But mind you, this is like, 18-year-old high school student home alone. Yeah, a lot of shit is about to go down. Honestly, this girl ends up having to have the house to herself. Mind you, Russ Thorne, who is played by Michael Villela, I'm pretty sure I butchered his name. He's an escape patient, and he is out there trying to kill people. Across the street from Trish is Valerie, a girl that is like a new student, doesn't really talk to anybody. She's pretty much quiet, but already she has a lot of the girls talking shit about her, which is weird. That's that weirdo shit. But anyway, what makes this movie so hilarious, because for the fact that it's taking place in a neighborhood, right? It's a quiet neighborhood. I don't want to say like it's like a suburban neighborhood, but I'm pretty sure it's like a suburban neighborhood. But for the fact that they're not like in a cabin in the woods, or like the neighbors aren't far away from each other, they're pretty much in ear distance from each other. there's a lot of things that go horribly wrong during this slumber party where Russ Thorn is actually killing a lot of the characters. But somehow, some way, neighbors don't hear shit. Like, the neighbors really don't hear anything in this film. It's like someone is getting brutally murdered and like nobody can hear a thing. Like, even the characters who live in the house where the murders are happening, they don't hear a thing. Like, there's this one scene where this character, I believe her name was Linda, she was getting like, she was trying to fuck her boyfriend basically. And what ends up happening is that her boyfriend gets his head chopped off by Russ Thorn while she was gone talking to the girls, you know, trying to ask permission to leave and all that from the slumber party so she could get fucked and everything. And when she comes back, Russ Thorn is pretty much outside the car and he's ready to kill her and everything like that. So the thing is, like, there's a lot of screaming, cars is being honked and all that shit. And it was like, how does no one not hear this shit? You know, like, how does no one not hear the horns honking and everything like that? Like, this girl is really screaming bloody murder. But yet somehow, some way, Valerie, who is across the street, could hear, well, not her, she didn't hear it, but her sister Courtney heard the sounds. And she was like, oh no, it sounded like car honking and screaming. And I'm like, duh, nigga, of course it was. Someone's getting murdered right now. Like, but it's funny to me because the girls that are inside the house, who are literally like a few feet away from everything that's happening, they don't hear anything. I swear. And I feel like there's a lot of people who have like a lot of sensory issues, you know? Like, and I think, actually, I gotta take that back. I don't think it was like Linda who got killed. It was Kim, because I believe Kim was the bitch. Linda was the one with the nice ass. I remember that much. Like, I gotta backtrack a little bit, you guys. So, but going back to Linda had a lot of depth perception issues. So in the film, like early on in the film, Russ Thorn is pretty much, he's at the school for whatever reason. Again, like just random reason, Russ Thorn is there. He ends up killing like this maintenance worker who was working on whatever, but she looked like she could be like a student also. So yeah, he kills her for whatever reason. He drills her on top of her head and what have you, because he is the driller killer. Mind you, fun fact, they don't use the phrase driller killer in this film. In the original Slumber Party Massacre, they use driller killer in Slumber Party Massacre 2. In the remake, they use both the names, Russ Thorn and the driller killer. And there's a lot, which I will go over later on, that there's a lot of like meshing of the original film. The first film and the second film. I'm just glad they didn't do no shit like Grease or whatever. But going back to what I'm talking about. So Linda, she forgets a book or whatever. She goes back into school, tries to get her book. In the school is Russ Thorn. So she goes to her locker, right? I guess her locker is in the PE area, whatever, and she forgot her book. So she's in her locker getting her book. This bitch doesn't even close her locker all the way, which is so funny to me because I'm like, who does that in real life? Now, me, honestly, if I was in high school, well, when I was in high school, I never left my locker like unlocked like that. But in this movie, this girl is just like, yeah, y'all can freely go in my locker. Like, I'm just like, who does that shit? That's weird. That's that weirdo shit. But anyway, sticking to the point about people and their depth perception in this film. So Linda, she first goes by to this door. It's pretty much locked. It's locked on the outside. because that's just how doors work for whatever reason. So she tries to unlock the door. She tries to go through it, but can't go through. She goes back, walks past her locker that's still open, by the way. She doesn't even close it. And then she walks to like this door in the gym that's already chained up and locked. And she tries to go through it. And I'm just sitting there like, does she not see that this door is locked? Like, I'm just wondering like what is going on. So there's a lot of people with depth, or not depth perception issues, but just a lot of sensory issues. I'm just like, yo, this must be like some type of like town where people cannot hear, see, or anything. Like, they are lacking a sense from their five senses, you know? I mean, shit, that's crazy. I mean, it's not funny, but it's like, to think about it, it's like, okay, half the time these people can't hear shit. That's crazy. Another thing, these people can't see shit. I think a lot of these people are lacking like a lot of their depth perception or just any type of sensory issues. I mean, I'm pretty sure like they can't even taste anything also. I mean, they're probably eating like fucking, I don't know, shit stains on a pizza or whatever, you know, like, you know, like, it's like they don't know what clean ass tastes like either if they're eating ass, you know? I'm just like, yo, these people are really lacking like a lot of their sensory right now. It's like motherfuckers probably be like, I don't know, if they're in the bedroom, you know, a guy think like he's eating pussy, but he's just sucking on a toe or whatever. He's telling the girl like, hey, how that pussy feeling? And she's like, you just sucking on my toes, dude. Like, I don't know, man, but it's a funny movie if you ever watch the original. But the thing is like with the, and there was actually a point, and I'm almost losing that point. But the point is like the first film has a lot of like funny, weird issues going on, but with the character Russ Thorn, he had no real purpose of actually killing these characters, which is the point I'm trying to make. Now, with the remake, they do give him a more of a purpose, which I do like. His purpose is basically he kills the females that come to this area. They're too attractive. They're too gorgeous. I mean, basically, if you really think about it, the guy is a fucking simp. But he's one of those murderous simps that you just want to be aware of. Like, if you're like an Instagram model or an OnlyFans girl, you know? Like, this is the type of dude that will be sliding in your fucking DMs talking about, like, you're pretty and all that. And then, you know, he's the same type of nigga that will, like, probably throw, like, all this money at you. He'll probably fly you out to his house and everything. You know, he'd be like, hey, baby, I got all the money in the world. I could treat you real good. But not knowing that, like, this nigga got a big-ass drill and he's trying to drill that shit in the middle of your forehead and all that. It's like, damn, this motherfucker is vicious. I'm just saying, that's just, like, my thing about Russ Thorn. This dude is the ultimate simp. He's the ultimate simp, but he's the simp. He's the killer simp. He's the killer simp. Not a simp killer, but a killer simp. Because he's a simp that kills, you know? That's what he does. If he was a simp killer, I mean, he'll basically be killing simps. Then he'll be Eileen Wernos, you know? But on another note, but yeah, like, this dude is killing these girls because they come to this camp. They come hot and shit. He gets all hot and bothered. And just for whatever dysfunctional reason, he kills them. He kills them because that pretty much gets him off, honestly. And I feel like that was probably like the message that they were trying to do in the original film. But I feel like with the original film, they didn't really like project that type of like psychology into that killer. You know, they just made him more of like a psychotic person randomly killing people. And I understand that because like back in the 80s, we got like a lot of films that only focus on killers just killing teenagers, like hot, sexy teenagers for whatever reason. Like, for some reason, these killers were so bothered by these teenagers being so hot, sexy, doing drugs, having all the sex in the world. It's like fucking Jason. Like, honestly, like, this dude, how many counselors has this dude killed? Just because they were out there smoking pot, drinking beer, and fucking. Like, he was just like the ultimate saint right now. He was just like, I'm doing this in the name of Jesus Christ. I am killing all these sinners and everything like that. Like, that's literally like what Jason was, man. Even though that's pretty like demonic in a way. But, and that's the same thing with Michael Myers. Like, think about Michael Myers and what he did to kill. Like, this nigga started off his murder spree by killing his sister, who got fucked in the beginning of the movie of Halloween. And because she got fucked, this dude was like, nah, you put a penis in my sister. My sister got a penis. I'm about to kill her. She's defiled now. Ew. Like, yo, that has got to be the most weirdo shit ever. And this dude did this as a little kid, by the way. So bringing it back, it's like Russ Thorne is like one of those people that are just like, he's a product of that serial killer madness of, hey, I ain't getting sex, so I need to kill him just because I'm not getting sex. If I can't have sex, no one can, you know. But I do like in the film that they make him more of a character that is intimidating, by the way. So like in the first film, well, not in the first film, I'm sorry. In the first scene, you know, you get Russ Thorne. It's like the 90s and what have you. And he's chasing after one of the main characters' mom. She survives the whole shit, but everyone thinks that he's dead. A few years later, coming back down to the present, you know, the daughter of the surviving mother, well, the mother who survived Russ Thorne's attack at the cabin in the woods, I should say. Sorry, I was having trouble wording that. Her daughter, Dana, ends up going out there with her friends, and they don't tell the mom where they were going, but we're given this idea that, you know, like the daughter is just going up there just to be going up there to face like whatever. But little do we know that the daughter and her friends are planning to kill Russ Thorne, but we'll come back to that a little later on. The thing is that during this film, the mythos of Russ Thorne is definitely like very scary. This guy is a very crazy person and that he just kills to be killing. I do like the fact that they literally make this guy that type of character because it kind of establishes more of a intimidating role for the killer, you know? So I do like the fact that they were trying to trap this guy and trying to bait him so they could kill him. They own themselves, you know, so Dana could help her mom gain her own self of person again, you know. So that's one of the few things that I do like about that film. Another thing that I do like is that in this film for Slumber Party Massacre, the remake, is that they do have a bit of Easter eggs in the film. Like I mentioned before, they do have the name the Driller Killer, which was a term used in the second film. They have the van, the white van that you see the maintenance worker get killed in. You see that van in the remake, but it has no real purpose in there except like giving Dana that thought like, oh, is he here? But yeah, that was a very good Easter egg to have. I had to watch the movie the second time to actually realize that was the van in the first movie, honestly. Because I didn't really catch on to it that much at first until I actually watched it until I actually watched it for the second time, and I was like, oh shit, that's the van from the first movie. And sure enough, when I watched the movie again, the first one I'm talking about, it was it. It was definitely it. So yeah, I do like the fact they had that Easter egg in there. But the biggest Easter egg that I do like is that they had the fucking guitar from Slumber Party Massacre 2. Now, if y'all been listening to this podcast for a while, you guys know I fucking hate that movie with a passion. But at the same time, I do like the fact of what they did at the end of the movie, which was so ahead of its time. I'm not going to mention that right now because I feel like I don't want to spoil it for anybody if you haven't seen it before. But if y'all seen it before, y'all know what I'm talking about. But I do like the fact that they have the guitar in there. They don't have the drill on the guitar, but they do have the guitar itself. The thing is that if you guys know why I hate it because it really deviates away from what the first film was, which was literally a slasher killer killing all these hot teens. Instead, it was a movie about a girl's psychotic breakdown and basically like the driller killer all of a sudden just now became John Travolta from Grease, and he was listening to fucking Purple Rain and shit in Grease and just was on some Grease lightning, I'ma kill you bitch type shit. So I don't even know what the fuck this second movie was supposed to be, honestly, but yeah, I was not really into it at all. Moving forward, because I want to kind of like close out everything. I do like the fact, a couple of things more, that it does work better. The movie does work better as a Cabin in the Woods film because it's a lot more surrounding space. You know, nobody can really hear you or help you, which honestly gives the characters more of a edge of like, yo, what the fuck are we gonna do? But for the fact that this movie didn't take itself too serious, I do like the fact that it did that. One thing I could say is that I do like is that in this movie, which kind of gave you the idea that it doesn't take itself too serious, is that they sexualized the guys in this movie more than they did the girls. And what they did also was like they kind of flipped the gender roles of the guys and the girls, you know, in a different way. So like, so you know how there's like always like the slutty girl, there's the girl that wants to bake and cook everything. There's like people who just want to, there's one that wants to talk shit or just acts like they know it all. I mean, these guys really embodied those roles, and it was so funny to see like these guys take on the roles of the females and just be like absolutely hilarious with it, and they just carried on that role with stride, honestly. I mean, especially when they got into that little like feathery pillow fight or whatever. It was so hilarious to see these guys just having feathers fall on top of them. You know, the camera's just focusing on their chest and their tight bodies and what have you. Pause on that. And then these guys are just jumping on top of each other, you know, and just piling on each other and everything like that. I mean, it's so funny to see that because I was cracking up every minute at this because I knew what they were doing. If you guys have seen the first film, I mean, they sexualized the girls so much. It's so random too how they sexualize the girls. I mean, these girls are like in the slumber party, but they're wearing like fucking lingerie and everything like that. So mind you, this is like 80s horror films. So this is definitely like supposed to be like eye candy for the boys to see. You know, so it's like, I'm pretty sure a lot of girls back then when they saw the first original film of Slumber Party Massacre, I'm pretty sure they were like, girls don't dress like this at a slumber party. Like, and I'm pretty sure some of them were like that. They were just like, I'm pretty sure there were some that wore like, you know, a negligee and what have you, but not all of them wore like fucking lingerie or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure like them seeing the original film with these girls wearing like all these sexy pajamas and everything like that and just having their tits hanging out right in front of their friends. And I'm pretty sure like, I don't know if girls really do this in front of their friends, but I'm pretty sure like a lot of them don't do this in front of their friends because it's not like I'm walking around like my homeboys and just being like, hey, I'm about to walk around with my dick out and everything like that. Like, that's that weird shit, honestly. But, yeah, in the remake, they really do sexualize the guys a little bit more than the girls. The girls, they actually wear real pajamas, honestly. And it's so funny because that's one little tidbit that I caught like on my second watch, that they actually gave the girls real pajamas. They didn't give the girls like sexy pajamas or anything to wear. No, the girls wore real pajamas, but you know, if they wore it nice enough, it looks sexy on them. I'm not even gonna lie. It looks sexy on them, but I mean, that's just, you know, that's me. That is me. That's just like thinking like that. But kind of wrapping things around now to things that I don't like, and it's not pretty much of anything that I didn't like about this film. The only thing that I would say like I didn't like about this film, the remake, is that the plot twist of Russ Thorn and his mother. And honestly, I felt like this is just another one of those, if you ever seen Slasherette Party, it's literally like, that's literally what this movie was just like. It was like Slasherette Party, where the killer is related to the mother, and the mother just didn't really want to take much responsibility for her kid's action, or because the kid is like such a murderous, you know, tyrant about killing sexy girls and all that. You know, it's like, okay, well, you know, try not to do this, try not to do that, otherwise don't get killed, you know. And it's like the mother, you know, just did not bear any responsibility. And it's like, okay, you killed my baby, which does happen. Russ Thorn does get killed. I mean, but that's not really surprising. And like the mother starts doing all the actions because she goes totally Mrs. Voorhees on like the surviving characters. So, and she goes in with the fury, honestly. Like, she kills one of the characters. Her name was Ashley. She was playing the stupid one, but really this girl was fucking brilliant. And that's another thing that I do like about this film. The girls in this film, they were all playing a fake role in order to lure Russ into the cabin so they could kind of kill him. So the girls, they all just like were in like their little pajamas, and they all were playing like certain roles. Like one girl was playing a slutty girl, another girl was playing a dumb girl. And it was just like, they were all playing a role to the point where like they were trying to get this dude to come to their cabin. So after they were pretty much like, after they killed Russ and pretty much everything was pretty much done, they didn't have to pretend to be certain characters anymore, which I really do think it was brilliant because they played the whole thing out. I mean, they literally went the whole 9 yards by drinking shitty drinks, which was actually water. They didn't have actual beer. They had nasty food, which was like nasty looking pizza. If you look at the pizza in the movie, by the way, that pizza has no sauce. None. The first time I looked at that movie, I was like, something's weird about that pizza. Until I looked at the remake for a second time, and I was like, yo, that pizza has no sauce. Oh, this is such a planned event. They were really trying to get this dude, and the movie was trying to let you know, like, this is what they're doing. It was all hiding in plain sight. So yeah, after they kill Russ, and Russ is pretty much dead, the mother goes on a killing spree. One of the girls named Ashley, which I mentioned before, was a brilliant one, the smartest one out of all of them, honestly. She was trying to fix the car and what have you, because they purposely fucked up the car to get stuck in that area to kind of like set up the whole show of like, hey, we're gonna get killed in this fucking cabin and what have you. While she's fixing the car, her hair gets stuck in like the little fucking the fan that is around the engine and what have you. And the mom, which we don't know is the mom at first, honestly, but the mom, she is pressing on the gas and what have you, and Ashley's hair is getting stuck in that shit. And then like the hair gets pulled so much, it's like all you see is all this fucking blood. You don't really see like the actual hair being pulled off or anything like that. This isn't fucking Saw or anything like that. But I do have to say, like, they really do get very graphic with this film, honestly. A little bit more graphic than the actual original film, because you don't really see much drilling on the characters. In this remake, you actually see a lot of like graphic violence, which I do like, because y'all know your boy is a slasher fan, and the gorier the better, honestly. But they get gory enough to where like it's not sickening in a way. I would have to say. I mean, it's like more like Scream level gore, if I have to compare it to anything like that. But I really didn't like the fact that they had the mom kind of like, well, not really the mom. The mom was okay. I'll accept the mom, but I did not like the fact that they were trying to turn the story into like almost like a supernatural horror. That's what I did not like the most. The mom plot twist, taking over the murders and all that, kind of a dry twist in a way, honestly. Again, if you ever seen Slasherette Party, that literally was the plot twist of that story with the killers. Again, Friday the 13th, honestly, we've seen it so many times. I feel like now it's like kind of like a tired trope in a way. But I did not like the fact that they tried to turn it into almost a supernatural movie, honestly. Like Russ Thorne is this supernatural being now, you know, which he's not. But other than that, there's nothing else I could say that's really wrong with this film. I mean, if you guys want to check it out, definitely, if you got like sci-fi, I mean, I believe it was like a sci-fi film. Yeah, check it out there. Other than that, I mean, it's on Amazon if you want to rent it out. That's definitely worth renting out. I had it rented out on Amazon, and I swear I had it rented out for like almost like 3 weeks or some shit like that for whatever reason. But anyway, definitely check out Slumber Party Massacre, the remake. It made it to my top 10. Definitely check it out. So right now I'm about to take a break. And when I come back, I am going to talk to you guys about my 2022 movies that I am excited to see. So, like you shouldn't say in a scary movie, I'll be right back.
Reality. Unseen by most. A place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side.
Right now, we're going to talk about some movies that I'm excited for. So, number one, let me talk about Scream. I am excited that the new Scream movie is coming out. I mean, it's not that far away from coming out anyway, depending on when you're listening to this. I mean, if you're listening to this like past January 14th, it's probably already out. And probably still at that time, I still haven't seen the movie yet. Let's be honest. Your boy is not a first week type person. If you listen to this podcast enough, you know that already. But yeah, I am excited to see this movie. I hope that there is a Amazon Prime VOD coming out pretty soon, because right now things are pretty much crazy in these streets with Omarion running around. Okay, let me stop. But yeah, if you guys haven't known, there's a new Scream movie that's coming out. It's centered around a new Ghostface killer who is killing a bunch of new victims. And the thing is that these victims have a connection to like characters from the past. So things that I am excited about this film, I am excited to see the gang all come back together. Nev Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox. Even though I really don't care for Courtney Cox like that. At least the Gail Weathers character. But I mean, she is there to kind of stir the pot. We need that character that stirs the pot a little bit. But the thing is, like, I feel like Gail Weathers, she's like Lois Lane. If you ever pay attention to like fucking Superman, Lois Lane always puts herself in like some type of harm or danger just to get a story out of it. And the simp Superman, I mean, that S is not Superman, that S is for simp. Because each time this bitch is putting herself in danger, this dude is like, oh, let's go save Lois. You know, it's like, dude, at some point, let that bitch die. Like, I don't want to be cold hearted, but let that bitch die. Like, but the gang is all back together, and there's a bunch of new characters. They got Jenna Ortega, who was on the Babysitter Killer movie, the sequel actually, and she wasn't that bad. I liked her character on there. But the thing is that with Scream, we're always excited to see how they're using like the horror genre as a metaphor or a parody in their films. So like in the first film, you know, it talks about horror movie tropes and everything like that with like the original films and original killers and everything like that. Sequel, the Scream Part 2, well, Scream 2, I should say, focus on sequels and how terrible sometimes those are, or even just like how like the killers there are a little bit more better than ever. Scream 3 focused on trilogies because originally I feel like Scream was supposed to be just a trilogy and they decided to come up with the fourth movie, but this one focused on trilogies and talked about how like everything comes to light, like everything that was in the dark from the first two movies, they all come into light, which is what the third movie really focused on. Number 4 focused on remakes and just like repeating certain things in the original film and trying to revamp it in any way possible. I do like that film. I really thought Scream 4 was a really good film, even with Emma Roberts playing that crazy character that she was. And Rory Culkin helping her out and everything like that. And Hayden Panettiere, you know, with short hair. I mean, she looked fine with that short hair, by the way. You know, her ass getting like hacked off in that movie. But I feel like with Scream 5 or just Scream, because of it being called Scream, I feel like this is going to be dealing with a lot with reboots. Honestly, like they're rebooting the series and this movie is going to focus on how the killer is rebooting the murders. So I feel like this one is going to focus hopefully on reboots because it's the only thing that makes sense to me, honestly. If you really pay attention to like the themes that Scream really tries to stick to as far as their films. So yeah, I hope that's what we're getting out of this film, hopefully. But if it's something else, I would definitely be pleasantly surprised. But I'm willing to take it all in. Pause. But another thing is that this is also going to be like the first film that Wes Craven is not directing the film at all, but it's going to be handled by the Radio Silence guys, Matt Bellinelli, Tyler Gillette, and Chad Villela. I swear I can't say that last name very well. Who is executive producing for the film. And if you guys don't know much about Radio Silence, they're the same guys that did the movies for VHS, the VHS series. They're pretty much in charge of that. They're also responsible for the movie Ready or Not, and that is a tremendously spectacular, good film. I don't know why I put those words together like that, but it is definitely a really good film to watch. I mean, it's like, if you are into good for her movies, this is a good for her movie to watch, honestly. And Southbound, which is also another anthology film, pretty decent, pretty much on more of like a indie scale more than VHS. I mean, VHS is also indie, but you could see VHS kind of being like a mainstream movie in a way, but Southbound is a little bit more weirder because it deals with like a lot of cult shit happening in there. There's like fucking demons running around. They were skull demons, I should say. There's this one scene where like this guy, he hit a girl who actually escaped from a cult house, honestly, which is so funny because in this movie, a lot of the characters, they kind of connect to each other. It's like if Crash was a horror movie. If you guys ever seen the movie Crash before with Terrence Howard or Ludacris. Ludacris gets his ass beat, by the way, by Terrence Howard twice. How the hell you go sign up for a movie to get your ass beat twice? Please tell me, Luda, what was going on? Come on, Chris. I have to call you by your government right now. Chris, how you gonna get beat up in 2 movies? 2 movies, my dude, in the same year too. Come on, bruh. Anyway, no wonder you're just driving cars and shit. Oh man, stick to driving movies, bruh. But going back on topic, the one thing that I'm probably fearing is that this Scream is probably gonna end up like Scream 3, honestly. But I'm like not really trying to put that on the radio silence, guys, because their track record has been like phenomenal so far. But we could say the same thing for Jordan Peele, you know, and we got Candyman last year, so yeah, and y'all know how I feel about that one. But anyway, yeah, that's probably like my only biggest fear for that film because I just don't want to see the Scream franchise getting tainted just because, you know, the companies want to revive old horror movies from the 90s and shit like that because I mean it's no better time to do that because I mean, hey, that's what Hollywood does. But yeah, I just don't want to see this movie get tainted or the series get tainted because, well, Wes Craven isn't there anymore. But moving on, the next film that I'm very excited to see is Terrifier 2. Art the Clown is fucking back. Yes. With a whole bunch of new characters to just kill off. And honestly, the reason why I'm excited because of just one thing, or actually 2 things, ultra violence and ultra gore. I gotta say, the scene where he kills fucking Dawn, where he saws her in half while she's upside down and he cuts her from her pussy all the way down to her head, that shit lives rent free in my head. Every single time anybody talks about Terrifier, like honestly, that movie is so phenomenal. And honestly speaking, I don't think the creators of Terrifier really thought this movie was going to be as good or well received as it has been. I feel like over the years, it took a while for it to kind of gain that momentum, I feel like. Because when I first saw this film was on Netflix. And it was on Netflix for a very long time, by the way. And I think when it came out on Netflix, it literally was like the year it came out or a year after it came out. So, yeah, I feel like over the years, people slowly but surely, they kind of came around to Art the Clown. I know some people who aren't really into gore, they're just like, why are you watching this? It's kind of like watching Saw or Hostel. But I gotta say, like, I love every minute of it. Honestly, like, give me more Art the Clown. I need Art the Clown. So yeah, my thing is like, how is he going to kill these people? Also, Samantha Scafidi, she's in this movie also, and she is reprising her role as Veronica. And I'm wondering, like, how is her role going to be played in this film? Is she going to be like a key player like Amanda or Dr. Gordon in like the Saw films where like she's like a major role to kind of like either defeat the villain or help the villain? Because remind you, he literally disfigured her face. And she could easily, because of that disfiguration, just be like, you know what? I'm going to help you out. And I could kind of see that being a plot twist, honestly. You know, like after everybody just disrespects her, treats her like a monster, you know, they're all just like, oh my God, no, she's so ugly, and what have you. So, you know, she ends up turning against mankind and starts killing people herself and start helping Art the Clown out. Or is she just gonna be one of those early deaths that you see in sequel horror movies? Like, let's take Scream 3, for example. Cotton Weary getting killed like literally in the first 15 minutes of the film. I was not ready to see that. I mean, I was a fan. I'm a fan of Liev Schreiber, just like anybody else. And I really do like the character Cotton Weary in this film. Well, in that film, I should say. So to see him getting killed off just like so randomly, like or just so soon in the film, it just was like, damn, you know. Other characters that got killed off early, like Kincaid, Joey, and Kristen in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, like they all got killed by Freddy just as soon as like in the first 15 minutes. We weren't even set to see this shit happen. I mean, the same thing that they did to Nancy in Dream Warriors, you know, they didn't kill her off like in the first 15. I mean, she managed to survive throughout most of the film, but with the other characters, Kincaid and all of them, that group, they were killed off very soon, and it was just heartbreaking to kind of see that happen like just so instantly. You know, like how Freddy just struggled to fight them off or fight against them. You know, he easily killed them, and it kind of diminishes a bit about the character's strength against Freddy too. Because, I mean, yeah, he took them out one by themselves because that's the only way Freddy was able to take them out. But to see those characters get taken out like just so quick and so fast, it was just like mind-boggling. Like, damn, they didn't have a fighting chance, even if they were in full strength with each other. My only worries about, I was about to say the wrong film, but my only worries about Terrifier 2 is just too much high expectations and sequel hell, because sometimes sequels could be just bad, honestly. And that's no lie. Like, even high expectations kind of kill off movies a bit. Take Lamb, for example. I was very excited to see Lamb. Everybody in my Facebook comment when I was talking about like was everybody's favorite 2021 film of the year, a lot of people chose Lamb. A lot of people chose The Night House. A lot of people, for some damn reason, chose Halloween Kills. But we're not going to talk about those people right now because they need help. But a lot of people chose Lamb, and I was very excited to go see Lamb too, because that was one of the films that I really wanted to see. And when I finally got to see Lamb, I thought I rented that shit on Amazon, but I ended up buying it. But I believe this was probably a drunk purchase, by the way. So I am not surprised that it ended up being a actual purchase of the movie than just a rental. Same thing I did with the Antlers movie. It ended up being like a actual purchase instead of a rental. I wish The Night House was an actual purchase and not a rental, because that movie was very phenomenal. And if you guys have not seen that movie yet, you guys are definitely missing out. You gotta check out The Night House. But anyway, point being is, I was very disappointed by Lamb. It was too long, too slow, and just flat out weird, honestly. I mean, I know A24 likes to do like experimental horror films or just experimental movies in general. I mean, it's like a mainstream indie set. you know what I'm saying? But Lamb was just too weird for me. I mean, I could not function with the fact that this mother who had no kids. Well, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that and call her what she was. I couldn't sit there and accept that this bitch who owned the farm with her husband, who looked like they were kind of like in a dying marriage anyway, ends up birthing. Well, she didn't give birth to the lamb. She actually birthed the lamb from another sheep and kept the lamb for herself for whatever reason. At first, we don't know why she kept the lamb for herself, but then we learn later, like, the lamb is like half lamb, half human for whatever reason. The kid was just an abomination in general. I mean, it was so fucking weird. I mean, it was weird to see like a fucking child's body with this animated, this lamb was so animated. The face was like so funny to see. I think I might watch it again, but I might have to watch it drunk as fuck or high as fuck, because the facial features of this lamb is just too hilarious. Have y'all ever seen a lamb actually get surprised or just like cries in agony? It looks so funny. It's the funniest shit you will ever see, by the way. I kid you not. I could not help but just look at this shit and just laugh a few times. But going back to what I was saying, because I'm getting way too off topic, Terrifier 2 might be as bad as Lamb, because Lamb was just a bad story. It was too long, and the twist of the film itself was just terrible, honestly. I was not feeling the twist at all. I thought it could have been better. Sequel hells, I mean, it could be like Sleepaway Camp 2 or Jason X or Nos 2, you know. Those films were just terrible in general. Nos 2 on a lesser extent, because I understand why Nos 2 was what it was. And I really do give respects to that film being what it is. But let's call it what it is. That movie was fucking terrible with story and how they use Freddy. That's just plain and simple as that. That shit was fucking terrible. And Jason X and all those other movies don't need a reason of me talking about them. We already know why they're terrible. But moving on, the next film I'm very excited to see is the Fede Alvarez film Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's going to be on Netflix pretty soon. And this is taking place, this is actually a reboot series also. So this is taking place 50 years after the first events. So now it's going to be like a new group going into like the Texas town where Leatherface is at, and Leatherface is going to have new victims. So I'm kind of wondering, like, are they going to age Leatherface a bit? Like how like Michael Myers got aged, because they aged him in Halloween. But it's so weird to know that he's aged, but yet Michael Myers is moving like he ain't even missed a beat at all. Like, this dude is not moving like an old man at all. And yet this motherfucker is able to take gunshots to the head and all that. Like, Halloween Kills, make it make sense for me. Let's go. Come on, man. But anyway, I'm excited for this film because it's a direct sequel to the first film. I am excited to see what Leatherface does or how they're going to approach this film. I'm hoping that they take notes from Mike Flanagan on how he did the Dr. Sleep movie, how like, and I mean, it's not a really fair comparison, honestly, but I mean, these spiritual sequels have not been that good. let's be honest, like, fucking Halloween has been terrible. Fucking Candyman has been terrible too. So it's like, I'm kind of fearing for Scream a little bit. And the only one that I know really that did well as a spiritual sequel, honestly, in my opinion, has been fucking Dr. Sleep and you know, the Shining series, honestly. I mean, I'm kind of curious on what Stanley Kubrick would have did with Dr. Sleep, but him and Stephen King didn't get along, so Stephen King didn't really like that shit. He was like, get the fuck out of here with that. But I would have really loved to see if Stanley Kubrick and Stephen King would have gotten along again, what Stanley Kubrick would have did with Dr. Sleep. But either way, Mike Flanagan did a good job, and I'm hoping that Fede Alvarez, he's not directing, but he is writing the film, and I really do feel like he should be directing because he does good when he's doing both directing and writing, but he's just a co-writer for this film. I'm excited to see what what kind of approaches they take with this film. But even though like Fede Alvarez is just gonna be writing, he did just write for only Don't Breathe 2. Okay, but speaking of Jordan Peele, I am excited to see the movie Nope. After talking shit about Jordan Peele, but it's only criticism, honestly. Like I'm a Jordan Peele fan. I love Get Out. I love Us. Candyman, not so much, but I'm gonna still get that movie on DVD anyway. I am excited to see this movie Nope, obviously because it's a Jordan Peele directed film. It's not just produced or written by Jordan Peele. This one is actually written and directed by him. So I'm excited to see that. Not much is known about what's in this film or what it's going to be about. Honestly, I don't know what to expect from it, honestly, but I just know Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer are in this. So I'm excited to see what they do in this film and how this thing is going to come about. Last film that I'm excited to see is the Olivia Wilde film Don't Worry Darling, which is starring Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, Emma Chan, Nick Kroll, and Olivia Wilde, and some more motherfuckers. I mean, you might as well call this movie fucking, I don't know, what's that one movie that has a lot of these motherfuckers in it? I wish I can't even think of it right now, but either way, it's a lot of motherfuckers in this film. So this movie is based on the 1950s, and it's gonna be about this housewife, which is played by Florence Pugh, and I guess her husband is going to be Harry Styles. I mean, based on like the teaser trailer that I've seen of it. I'm hoping that this movie is something like Last Night in Soho, which was a really good psychological film. Also The Night House, which was also a good psychological film. I didn't care about the ending though, but it was still a good movie. By the way, but yeah, if it could take notes and just do what those two movies did, not Lamb, it would be a very good like semi-indie film. And I want to say semi-indie because again, this is Olivia Wilde. She is pretty much known. I mean, she got pretty much pulled around Hollywood, so it's like this shouldn't even be like a indie film in a sense, but it's probably gonna be presented like some type of indie film or whatever. But it's Olivia Wilde's first horror film that she is directing, and I'm excited to see what comes out of this film. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even have any guesses on what it could be. But again, I didn't have much guesses about The Night House or Last Night in Soho either. You know, I actually went into those movies blind. I didn't know much about them. I just knew I wanted to watch them, honestly. And it's the same thing with Antlers too. But those are my 5 movies that I'm excited to see. Right now, we're going to take a break right now. And when we come back, we're going to get into the slasher corner. So be right back.
Now get my way, bitch.
Welcome to the Slasher Corner, you guys, and as you know, I usually have a Slasher Corner movie of the week, but this week I'm going to talk to you guys about some of my hopes and gratitudes for this podcast. Now, let me tell you something funny right now. I actually recorded this beforehand. This is actually the second time I'm recording this shit. Somehow, my dumb ass recorded this fucking podcast, well, actually the part of this podcast, undid everything that I recorded and deleted. Well, I saved the deleted part of this podcast where it doesn't have like this part at all, at least the first part. So I'm trying to like undo what I did. Motherfucking edit was like, you're funny. I go back, motherfucking, this is the end. So yeah, this is take two. Take two. So let me first off start off with shouting out a few people. I guess I'm not gonna be so long-winded because now I know what to say, but shouts out to the Sauce Talks. Shouts out to Dylan and Ray out there. You guys are some hilarious dudes that, do your thing on the podcast. I'm always on there clowning around. I've met Dylan in real life, cool guy to meet, very funny guy, fun to hang out with. Yeah, you guys keep doing your thing. Shout outs to Enoch X Mortis. You're a very cool rapper guy, man. You do your thing, man. Keep doing your thing in the rap scene. It's not about like all the glitz and glamour, man. And I do like the fact you're not all about that glitz and glamour, man. You all about the art, bro. So keep doing your thing. Make those cool ass album covers and shit. And yeah, man, just keep doing your thing, dude. Shouts out to the Gore Friends for coming on to the show. Shouts out to Dr. Ghoul and Scrog, who also came out to the show. I know we had some technical difficulties, but we still made it work, bro. So yeah. Shouts out to you guys for coming on to the show. It was very fun collaborating with you guys. Shouts out to Desi for Dezea's Creep Show, or Creep Shop. I always fuck it up somehow. But yeah, shouts out to you. We had a very good conversation before the podcast episode that we collaborated on. But we also had a good podcast episode talking about like anxiety and fears and just how to overcome that stuff. But also just talking about like politics and different things like that. And we just had like a really good conversation before and after the show was done. So yeah, shouts out to you. Keep doing your thing. I see you out there with your designs and everything. And those are some really badass designs. Y'all need to follow her and check her stuff out. Shouts out to Bao Kang and Jay Adams. You guys are amazing. You guys are doing your thing. Keep doing your thing, Bao. Keep doing what you do, man. I support it all the way 100%. Just keep doing your thing, bro. So, yeah, can't wait to get you on the show, talking about like what you've been up to. I know I promised you an episode, so that's coming soon. So, yeah, shouts out to you. Shouts out to my boys, Kelly the Wolf and Algorithm C. You guys are much appreciated. You guys contribute to the podcast in more ways than one with this music. You guys are helping me in more ways than one because honestly, if it wasn't for you guys' like talented skills that got added onto here, I'm telling you right now, my shit would probably be even more trash than what it is. But you guys are out here doing a damn thing. You guys need to check their stuff out. Shouts out to my boy Jeremy. You're doing your thing. Shouts out to Marco Estes. Thank you for coming on to the show, bro. And I promise I will release that episode that we were doing. We were doing a collaborative episode about like the best 2021 movies. And yeah, I just didn't have the time because again, I was working like 3 fucking jobs or 3 million jobs and shit like that. But yeah, that episode will be released sometime at, down the line. But yeah, bro, you need to come back to the show. I need to jump on your show and we need to talk about some shit. Shouts out to my horror sis, Dimey Horror. I have much love and I appreciate you very much. You were the first one to come on to the show and I have never forgot about that. I've always appreciate you coming on and I still appreciate you to this day. I support anything that you do. I all of a sudden now I can't talk, but I support your future endeavors in anything that you're getting into. And definitely you're out there killing it, horror sis. So yeah, keep doing your thing. And last but not least is my girl Megan's World. And I gotta say, I appreciate you very, very much. You have been like the one person throughout this journey that we're on right now. Just being fully supportive and just being like the person to come to just talk about some shit. And whenever like things go down and what have you, I appreciate you very much. And I can't wait to see how our relationship flourishes and grows even more. So yeah, here's to hopefully more time together and seeing what this journey takes us, honestly. But those are some of the shout outs I want to give you guys. Some of the hopes that I am hoping for like the show, you know, I'm hoping like more collaborative projects, more people coming on, more horror engagement from the horror community. I know some of us were pretty much like introverted and what have you, but you know, I do want to see more horror people coming onto the show. I do have like a list of like people I do want to see kind of on here and what have you. Yeah, so I just want to say, like, you know, more horror lovers come on, you know, and what have you. Other than that, I want to say shouts out to you, Team Doom, for being here, for listening to the podcast, for supporting the podcast each and every way possible. You know, I don't make no money from this shit. I'm only on here as a nigga on a microphone. That's about it, you know. I'm only doing it because I want to, you know, not because I have to. So yeah, I definitely appreciate you, Team Doom, for supporting this podcast. So once again, if you want to follow your boy on the social medias, those social medias are Walter Doom on Instagram, Walter Doom 1 on Twitter, The Walter Doom on TikTok, and Walter Doom on anywhere else that's involving streaming. Okay, I think I'm pretty much like out of breath at this point. But anyway, we're about to close out the show. So this has been another episode of Let's Talk About Horror. This is America. Don't let them catch you slipping now. Stay diabolical, people. Peace.